Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well. Today is August 15th. Crazy, but we're here. It's been an interesting day in the news world overall. A lot of things happening. I don't know. We're here and we're ready to get into it. So let's get into it instead of me just rambling. Moving into the Trump administration segment, as we do, the first topic we have today is JD Vance was rejected from a restaurant while on vacation. JD Vance was rejected service at a popular British pub after staffers threatened not to show up to work if he made a reservation. Employees haven't commented on it themselves, but local residents were very upset that Vance chose their area for a vacation. Many signs protesting the event read, "Fascists not welcome here," and simply telling JD Vance to just go home. Good on them for making a stand. Vance has been on vacation this entire administration, and call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but I think it's because they're preparing him to replace Trump. He's getting the downtime he needs now before he goes into that replacement role. I mean, let's think about it. He's young, and Trump is old. I mean, people need to be more worried about Vance. He's young, he's moldable, he's a puppet. He's already like Peter Thiel's puppet, I believe. I mean, he's going to be a problem when we have this young, relatable guy in office. The 40-year-olds, that kind of age range of men, 40 to 20, whatever, are really susceptible to Trump and this MAGA ideology right now. Can you imagine how much worse that gets when we have someone like J.D. Vance in office who is more relatable than Trump? Because not only is he their age, but, he's a dude. And I know a lot of people say, oh, MAGA doesn't like JD Vance, or like his own party doesn't like JD Vance. That doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, he is still a moldable figure, and they can turn him into whoever they need to be. I mean, look at it, all the clips from him saying that he was a never Trump guy. Now he's Trump's vice president. It kind of proves that point there. I would be worried about JD Vance. And if you're not, maybe do a little more research. No offense. Anyways, moving on, Kristi Noem is living rent-free at a Coast Guard base after being doxxed. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has been living rent-free in a home on a Coast Guard base after being doxxed and receiving death threats. Tricia McLaughlin said in a statement, following the media's publishing of the location of Secretary Noem's Washington, D.C. apartment, she has faced vicious doxing on the dark web and surge of death threats, including from terrorist organizations, cartels, and criminal gangs the Department of Homeland Security targets. Due to threats and security concerns, she has been forced to temporarily stay at a secure military housing. Secretary Noem continues to pay rent at her Navy Yard residence. I mean, this is what she gets for being a part of fascism, in all honesty. I don't know what they expect. They are actively hated by a majority of the country at this point, which they should know, because there is no way that they are all that delusional. I mean, maybe Trump is, but I doubt all of them are, right? I also don't get why they said that she continues to pay rent at the same place. Like, maybe they're trying to bait him into thinking she still lives there. I don't know. It feels like if she was actually going to still live there, you probably wouldn't say that. But I don't get why she would still live in there in the first place. If you've been doxxed and if you're having death threats, you should probably move. No brainer, But they're not that smart. In other news, Trump and Putin have officially met today, if I get English. Trump and Putin have met today in Alaska for an attempt to end the war in Ukraine. Both leaders met at the joint base in Eldamorph Richardson in Alaska. Trump started the meeting with a flyover of F-35s and B-2 bombers. This meeting has now ended as of 5:30 Mountain Time. Trump has failed to make a deal in this meeting. According to reports, Trump is instantly going back to Washington, D.C. instead of having lunch with Putin, which was the intended plan. It's interesting that he's just heading straight back to D.C. I wonder if the meeting went horrible. We don't really know. If Trump does decide to give up, Alaskan resources or land, as he says yesterday, I guarantee you we'll have a problem. I think giving anything to Russia would make a majority of the people in this country pissed off, as it rightfully should. Russia has been an enemy forever. And we shouldn't just be handing them what they want, especially when they haven't done anything to really deserve that. I mean, not to mention Trump also made troops lay out a red carpet for a man who would, literally kill them all, give them the opportunity. Like, that is insane. Genuinely, what the fuck are we doing? Like, come on, guys. In some really, really interesting news, an insane report from the Rolling Stone has come out that says Trump might be drawing up plans to invade Mexico. An insane report has come out from the Rolling Stone that says Trump is drawing up attack plans to invade Mexico. This came after the order signed last week by Trump letting him invade Latin American countries to fight cartels against their will. The report says unless Mexico lets Trump in, he is serious about attacking the country, and according to his own administration officials, it isn't a bluff at all. There are claims it's very possible the Pentagon is drawing up plans, if they haven't already, and this would be the first war on U.S. soil since 1865, when the Civil War ended, which is crazy. I wouldn't be shocked if this happened. He's wanted to do this since his first administration. My real question is he going to take any land if he does this? As we know, normally Western nations don't really change borders or take land in a war. But Trump really isn't a Western leader. We've kind of seen throughout this administration that he wants to make territorial gain, whether that be through Canada, whether that be through Panama, whether that be through Greenland. It is kind of obvious that Trump wants to make some form of territorial gain. And will he do it here? I mean, that's really the question. Trump as a whole seems like he wants to make land gains, and I wouldn't put anything past him at this point. Maybe that's just me, but at this point, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, my mouth would not move at all if Trump decided to invade Mexico and take land at all. But it's an interesting thought there. That is for sure. Moving on into our Washington, D.C. segment, the D.C. police chief will remain in charge as the Department of Justice essentially caved. Pamela Smith, the police chief in D.C., will remain in control of the city's police department after the district attorney general filed a lawsuit challenging Trump's attempt to seize control of the police force. The Trump administration can still use MPD officers for federal purposes, but they won't have control over the force. This was great news and a big pushback against the Trump administration. They should not be allowed to take over a city and its police force against its will. People need to stand up to Trump and against that, and I'm glad we're seeing that here. Hopefully we can see more attempts like this so we can actually liberate DC rather than what Trump claims he's doing, because as we all know, he's not doing that. I mean, that's kind of obvious. Moving on into our ICE segment, we have some really interesting news as Trump spent $500,000 on an ICE rap music video. The Department of Homeland Security debuted their new ICE vehicles in a rap music video that included Trump's name in gold on the cars. The video was posted on Thursday by the Department of Homeland Security's Twitter and used the song Toes by DaBaby. As the music played, several vehicles drove through the streets, and the colors resembled Trump's private jet. In one shot, the vehicle had Trump's name in gold, and this ad was seemingly a part of the recruiting efforts that are costing taxpayers so much. I mean, the fact that this costed $500,000 by itself is wild. Things like these are such a waste. What happened to cutting government spending? I know I just said a bunch of times, but why are we spending money on useless things like this? You can tell ICE is genuinely struggling to find agents because they aren't popular at all within this country. They should give up, but I mean, they're never going to. That's why they're one of the most funded agencies, or they are the most funded agency within this country. And it's honestly just a waste of taxpayer dollars and the energy of the people. I mean, it's stupid. It genuinely is, just like this entire administration. Moving on into our other news segments, we have the last topic for tonight. A bit of a quick one, not much going on today. That's kind of how they go on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but you guys already know that already. The topic we have is an anti-Russian protests broke out in Alaska. Hundreds gathered today in Anchorage to protest meetings between Trump and Putin. Photos from the protests showed Ukrainian flags being flown and signs. One sign read, Ukraine and Alaska, Russia never again. And other signs read, Alaska stands with Ukraine, and Zelensky should be here. protests also reportedly happened today on Friday, as well as this, and as well English. And the state Republicans Party also plans to have a rally for Trump, but I haven't really seen any information on that. So I wonder if it kind of got completely drawn out by these, anti-Russian protesters. Um, this is great. Hell yeah to Alaska. I'm glad to see Alaska has shifted away from Trump, especially with the policies that negatively impact their state from the big beautiful bill and all of that. It would be cool to see them vote blue. I think the last time we saw that in like a presidential election was Lyndon B. Johnson, and I think that's the only time we've seen that. I don't know if they've ever had a blue representative, like a Democratic representative. I tried to do research, but I couldn't find any. So, I mean, if you're from Alaska and let me know. But it would be cool. I doubt it because the state never really does. But maybe not. We'll see. But with that being said, that is all the news for today. Hopefully, you all enjoyed a little quick one. I didn't think that was 10 minutes, but here we are. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well, though. If you're new here, please subscribe on the YouTube. We're on our way to 500 subscribers. We'd really appreciate it if you could help me get there. If you're on Substack, please consider subscribing. All funds go to me. Don't make pay for the things that I will need to pay for in college, like food and clothing and all those kinds of things. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. It means the world to me. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you all in tomorrow's episode.